Hola amigos, ¿qué tal? Stuart here from Spain Speaks, coming to you today from Portugal at the beach, as you can see behind me, and you can get an idea of what's going on here in Portugal regarding the use of beaches. As we can see, this beach behind me is absolutely packed. There's a little bit of space up here, of course, but that's too far away from the water for most people, so they all congregate down here. I will say that there is social distancing going on between families and different groups of people. For example, there's about maybe 2 meters between different beach umbrellas and towels and people that are lying down. People in the water, no, a lot of people in the water. We'll turn the camera around so you can have a look there as well. Obviously this is not Benidorm or one of those busy places in Spain where you get huge massification of beaches, but for the time of the year we're in, mid-July, you can see that there are a lot more people on the beach here than there would normally be, and I put that down to a couple of reasons, and I'll tell you about that in a minute. Now, I come to this part of the world every year, normally around this time, end of July, August, and I've never seen so many people on the beach here for this time of the year. Obviously it is Saturday and it is quite hot in Portugal at the moment. Got very high temperatures inland, and that obviously brings a lot of people to the beach. But what I'm guessing here is that there are lots of people in a furlough scheme at the moment, or lots of people that have lost their job, and that's one of the reasons why so many people are at beaches here today, because there's no tourists in this town, or very few. Only local tourism going on at the moment. Haven't seen many Spanish tourists here, haven't seen many tourists from other countries, of course, and that's because of the restrictions, and a lot of people are not traveling this year because we know they don't feel safe. But as we can see, the Portuguese are out and about. I would say that that is 95% Portuguese down there, whereas normally it would be about probably 70-30 between Portuguese, Spanish and other foreign tourists in this particular part of Portugal, which is not the Algarve, and I'll just put that on the record. Now I'll just turn the camera around and give you an idea where I am here today. I'm in a place called Peniche, which is about 90 kilometers north of Lisbon, 200 plus kilometers south of Porto, in the centre part of Portugal, and as we can see, it is a port city. About 25,000 people, and a lot more normally in the summer months here. Of course, this would be coming up to the time when they normally celebrate their local festivities here in this town, but none of that going on at the moment. As we can see here, we have a port and a shipbuilding place here as well. So it is an industrial town, which mixes that with tourism. And fishing is also a big part of this town here. Great fish, and lots of people out and about fishing. Not only the professional fishermen as well, but also a lot of recreational fishermen, as we can see down here, that are trying to catch something for lunch. And I don't know how successful they are, but of course in the Atlantic Ocean that we have here, I'm sure that there is an abundance of fresh fish available, ready to be caught. Also, from what I've seen here, the whole coronavirus thing is a lot more relaxed at the moment than it is in Spain. Spain obviously is going through a bit of a difficult phase at the moment, as we have seen in Barcelona, which I'll talk about in just a minute. But here people are a lot more relaxed. Not the case apparently in Lisbon, where there's still a bit of a problem. I was speaking to a woman yesterday who told me that it's better to stay away from Lisbon at the moment, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to stay here. But people here, as I said, a lot more relaxed. Not everybody is wearing a mask. You see a few people around wearing masks. If you go into shops, obviously you have to put one on. Hand gel available to sanitize your hands before you go in. And there are some restrictions about how many people can enter establishments. For example, lots of people queuing up to get lunch from takeaway places, queuing up to go into small supermarkets, which is a characteristic in this part of the world. Lots of small supermarkets, and people queuing up to get into those. But as I said, a lot more relaxed, and we can see here somebody walking past. I'm not sure if they have a mask on or not. Don't think so. Obviously somebody who's just been fishing and obviously caught what he needs to catch, and he's on his way home to eat it. So that's the situation here in Portugal, and as I said, Spain not as good as it was a few weeks ago at the moment. Unfortunately, Barcelona, a voluntary lockdown which has taken place there, but we'll talk about that in just a tick. And you can get an idea behind me of just how long these beaches are here in Portugal. This beach stretches for kilometres and kilometres there, and quite crowded here obviously where there's car access, but if you go over to some of these places here, you'll see that there are not many people at all, because obviously they're more difficult to access down there, and that would be, in my opinion, a good place to go to the beach at the moment. Now, Barcelona is a bit of a worry in my opinion, that voluntary lockdown that they've got going on there at the moment. Reading in the paper this morning that a lot of people saying that it's not going to be taken serious by the population there. They're going to have to do something stricter, maybe state of alarm situation again, in order to get the virus under control in Barcelona and its surrounding areas. And also yesterday, a lot more cases in Spain, unfortunately, and various outbreaks again in the country, and more cases reported over the last 24 hours. So still a little bit complicated in Spain, in my opinion, and it's one thing that the government just can't seem to get on top of or eradicate 100%. It just seems to be impossible. Now, the use of masks still causing a lot of debates. Reading the comment section there, a lot of people just can't seem to get their head around the idea of wearing a mask. Still a lot of people saying that it's not important, that we don't need to do it, and we're losing freedoms. But again, it is what's being dictated, and fines are being handed out around Spain. Was talking to a mate yesterday in Cadiz, and he told me that down in Andalusia, of course, as we know, it is obligatory or mandatory to wear masks when you go to the beach, or at least when you're walking along the beach. Not if you're sitting on the sand under the umbrella, you don't have to wear a mask then, but he said even people walking along the beach are not really adhering to the rules, because obviously they prefer to go to the beach without a mask, and that's what's happening. And a few people commenting that we shouldn't be throwing all Brits into the same basket when it comes to this drunk alcohol tourism that we have here in Spain. Somebody said that those are the people that are the same in the UK, just get drunk all the time, and of course it gets a bit out of control when they come to a country like Spain. And you're right, not everybody should be in the same basket. Of course, I don't consider myself part of that type of tourism. I know Australians, when they go to places like Bali, they can get out of control, and it's not a good look for the rest of the population. But there's an expression in Spanish which is justos por pecadores, and unfortunately a few rotten eggs can spoil it for everybody else, and that's what often happens. And of course, just talking about that Barcelona lockdown again, people are worried about whether countries like Spain or Portugal will be able to survive another lockdown. I don't think they will be able to do it. Of course, the economies are already badly affected, and another lockdown would wreak havoc on what's left of commerce and businesses in countries like these. Here I've seen a few places that have shut down, restaurants that probably opened a couple of years ago, obviously don't have that clientele yet, and without tourists, of course, can't open at the moment. And it is a shame, people that invest their money in a business like that, of course, in a tourist area, and it all goes down the drain. But hey, that's what's happening at the moment. So on that note, I'll start to wrap the video up. Questions or comments, please leave them in the section below. Thumbs up if you liked it, thumbs down if you didn't. Tell me what you think of this location here. I think it's absolutely spectacular. What do you think? See you in the next video. Hasta luego.